I think my channel is very unique in the sense that I am equally a part of the spiritual community and the self-help community, whether I like it or not. Now, I've spoken about the spiritual community and about how, people have created these classifications of being woke and a chosen one and being a bot, being a low vibrational being. And because I'm a part of both communities, I see the parallels between those classifications and the alpha beta classifications. Okay, they're all divisive tactics that these YouTubers give you guys. And I'm not saying that these people are necessarily trying to divide, they're just speaking their truth. But I feel like the way that people perceive this information that's being spread is toxic. It's very toxic. And it goes against the grain of what I teach on my channel, which is self-empowerment. That's the ultimate theme of my channel, is empowerment through transparency, being yourself, accepting who you are, embracing who you are, and becoming the best version of you that you can be. Not trying to fit into this mold of what it means to be a chosen one or an alpha. Both of those things are very toxic, especially in the way that people use them. Now, I've managed to create my own definitions so that, I can kind of tap into that community and provide them a greater sense of empowerment. So if you use the term alpha and beta to identify yourself and others, this video is for you and you need to watch to the end because I'm about to shift your whole entire paradigm. Everything that these self-help YouTubers have told you about being an alpha is a lie. Simply put, it's a lie. It's a lie. They're profiting off of your insecurities. They tell you that in order to get girls, you need to be a certain way. In order to be successful, you need to be a certain way. You have to fit this mold, this archetype of what it means to be an alpha. So, what does it mean to be an alpha? Generally speaking, people say that being an alpha means that you hold masculine frame, whatever that means. It means that you're a stoic, you're not a very emotional person, you think logically. And this is very, very toxic. Okay, there is nothing strong about holding in your emotions. There is no honor in being a stoic, unless it's natural. If you're naturally stoic, if things don't bother you, if you are that secure within yourself, that's good. And honestly, I feel like that's what a lot of self-help YouTubers are actually trying to tell you. But a lot of times people take this information out of context and create their own definitions and try to skip steps in the process. And that's where, depression and anxiety come in, where they don't know if they're doing things right because they feel like they have to fit this mold of what it means to be an alpha. They have to be like that YouTuber. You only have to be like yourself. That's what it means to be an alpha. Being yourself. Expressing your emotions. Emotions are a part of the human experience, male or female. If you were not supposed to cry as a man, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't have tear ducts. Why do you think you're able to experience emotions? It's because you're supposed to. This is honestly something that I didn't really encounter until I got deeper into this self-help community. Once I started making these videos and I started reading some of the comments that I would get on certain videos, for example, spoken word videos. I would make a spoken word video expressing my feelings and people would call me a simp or a beta. And it really irritated me, not because of what they were saying to me, but because they believed what they were saying. I really hate seeing people in that mindset where they feel like they have to put others down to overcompensate for their own insecurities. You have 15-year-old boys, not men, but little boys, who are concerned about being an alpha because they think that that's how you get girls. Truth be told, that is not how you get girls. Girls can see right through that. I can see right through that. I can see through a lot of these YouTubers and their insecurities and how they're broken and how they're trying to hide from their emotional trauma by being stoic, when they're not truly stoic. And obviously, I'm not saying that all self-help YouTubers are like that, but there are definitely people out there with a lot of influence. And a lot of people, they watch these videos and they take these words as truth and they apply those ideas into their lives. And as a result, they inherit that same emotional trauma and insecurity that these YouTubers have. People need to understand that being emotional does not make you any less of a man. Some people are naturally more emotional. Some people are naturally more logical. This has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. For example, I'm a man and I would consider myself to be a very emotional person. Now, if I had been mostly logical, I would not be making this video. There's nothing logical about starting a YouTube channel. There's nothing logical about dropping out of school. There's nothing logical about quitting your job when you only have $600. There's nothing logical about taking these chances on yourself. Statistically, I was going to fail. But I followed my intuition, my emotions. I knew what I wanted out of life and I pursued that. I followed my emotions, my instincts. And now you're sitting here watching my video. Just a few months after I quit my job, after I took those chances on myself, went against the grain of what it means to be logical, and did what I wanted to do, things have worked out very well. You need to have the proper balance for you, for your personal life. Nobody can tell you what the right balance is for you. Some people watching this are not very emotional people, and that's okay. I think that everyone should be in tune with both sides so that you can tap into each side depending on the situation. But understand what your balance is. Get to know yourself more. Stop looking to YouTubers to teach you who you really are. Because you can't be like them. If you try to do that, you are being a beta. Okay, that's what it means to be a beta. People think that being emotional makes you a beta. People think that, having fear or showing weakness or stepping out of your masculine frame or whatever means that you're a beta. No, being a beta is being somebody that you're not, trying to fit into this societal archetype of what it means to be an alpha. That's what makes you a beta. Trying to be somebody in order to impress other people, in order to change the way that people perceive you. At the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're going to have supporters and you're going to have haters. That's something that I struggled with when I was starting YouTube. I didn't realize that no matter what I do, I can't please everyone. The only thing that matters is that I'm pleasing myself. I please myself with the content that I make. I'm satisfied with the content that I make. And I think that that's a principle that everyone should apply in life. As long as you are pleased with who you are, you shouldn't worry about what others think of you. That's being a beta. And I don't like using these terms, but in order to tap into this community and really get people to understand what I'm trying to say, I've had to use these terms and create my own definitions for these terms. Definitions that provide a sense of empowerment as opposed to perpetuating that insecurity that a lot of these people have. If you have these insecurities, there's nothing wrong with that. The first step is awareness. You have to be willing to admit that you are insecure. You have to be willing to admit that you have emotional trauma. You have to be willing to admit that you feel pain. And that's okay. It's part of the human experience. Emotions and feelings are temporary unless you hold on to them. When you suppress these emotions, when you don't express them in some way, shape, or form, you are holding on to them. For example, earlier this year, I went through a very traumatic situation. It was emotionally traumatic for me. And for a while, I didn't want to talk about that situation. I didn't want to talk about it, and I held so much back that I started having anxiety. And I've never had anxiety in my life before that. But then, eventually, I built up the courage and the strength to start expressing my feelings on camera. I started to speak on these things and even create art out of these feelings, out of this pain. And it definitely helped. It was necessary. It was necessary for me to accelerate my healing process. If you don't allow yourself to express these emotions, you're going to hold on to them forever. And it's going to change the way that you view life and the way that you view people. This is why a lot of these red pill dating coaches, for example, are very cynical and very pessimistic when it comes to their views about women. It's because they're holding on to things. They didn't allow themselves to heal properly. And it's all in the name of holding that masculine frame. For what? Why? Why do you need to hold masculine frame? You don't need to be hyper masculine to be successful. I'm an example of that. I'm not a hyper masculine person by any means. I would consider myself to be pretty successful so far. Emotion is the foundation of the world's greatest art. That's why music can be very healing when you listen to it. When you're going through something and you hear a song that you can relate to, it helps you to express your feelings. You're living through that person, through that song. You feel understood. What you need to understand is that there is nothing wrong with being emotional. There's nothing wrong with being in tune with your emotions. You don't have to be stone cold. to get women. You don't have to be stone cold to be successful. You just need to be yourself. If you're trying to be like somebody that you're not in order to impress other people, you're being a beta. And that's the main reason why people like to put others down. That's why people like to call each other beta. That's why people like to call each other simp. That's why people like to call each other bots. Because they're insecure. They're projecting their insecurities onto other people. I see straight through it. There's nothing strong about trying to put others down. And this is why I don't like those classifications. I don't like to buy into those things. And I don't like to use that terminology on my channel. And I definitely don't make this a part of my daily life. And truth be told, most people don't either. You don't see people on the street calling each other betas. You don't see people on the streets calling each other bots. You don't see that. That's weird. That's not something that you do in real life. That's not a regular human interaction. Stop trying to overcompensate for your insecurities by putting others down. Stop trying to fit into that societal archetype that some random YouTuber told you need to fit into in order to get women or to be successful or to do what you want to do in life. The only thing you need is confidence. That's it. You just need to be confident enough in yourself, in who you are. Don't change the foundation of who you are in order to impress other people. That's not a gratifying way to live. I promise you. I lived that. I lived that for the better part of my life until I finally woke up and realized I can just be myself. Because when I'm being myself, I'm the only one of me. I'm unique and I'm going to stand out to people. People are going to gravitate towards me because I'm being myself. And the same thing applies to everyone. You can't be a better version of someone else than they can be of themselves. But on the flip side, no one can be a better version of you than you can be of yourself.